Caterham UK 7 and the 310Rs are in action at Thruxton for their second races of the weekend. First though, let's hear from a couple of drivers who are keeping it in the family this year.
First of all, it's a road car, so I've used it on the road. It's just good. It's best of both worlds. Great racing car and a great road car as well. Yeah, it's affordable, it's fun, a lot of sideways action. It's a good car, it looks great. Can't say further than that really. My brother's actually 2 years ahead on the ladder, so he started the academy 2 years before me. Got me into it. Finally caught him up. Couldn't quite catch him today, but yeah, it was good fun.
Hoping to build on a solid start to his Caterham 7 UK campaign last time out is Harry Kramer.
Racing, this is my 420R, just here. It's my second season racing the 420Rs. I was racing, what used to be the old Super Sports prior to that. Yeah, and it's a great car. It's got a about 210 brake horsepower, 6-speed sequential Sadev gearbox. Bit of a handful in the rain, as I learnt yesterday. But yeah, it's a great car, very, very quick. I think we're averaging over 100 miles an hour to do a full lap round here, so it's pretty leery, but good fun.
So we'll watch with interest to see just how leery it gets for Harry and the rest of the drivers out there. In the meantime though, let's take a look at the points ahead of the races here this weekend. Well, in the 310R rankings, it's James Murphy who shares the points lead despite not winning at Cadwell Park. His co-championship leader Tom Grensinger did though, as did third place man Greg Monks. In the 7 UK rankings, it's all about John Byrne, the reigning champion, already stretching his legs, with Henry Heaton and Stephen Nuttall scrabbling to keep up. Well, Henry Heaton did manage to finish second to John Byrne yesterday, so that is the way they'll line up on the grid. John Byrne on pole position, Henry Heaton alongside him in 310Rs. It was a win for James Murphy from Greg Monks by just 0.3 of a second, so expect those two to be doing battle from further back. There is James Monks, we've got an onboard camera with him today in still quite damp and greasy conditions. The track doesn't look too bad here, but when they get going, I think we'll see a fair bit of spray being kicked up, and that is about to happen now because the lights are out and both grids of cars accelerate away towards Allards for the first time. At the head of the field, John Byrne holds on to the advantage. Henry Heaton in second place. The 310Rs are already at least 3 wide turning into the right-hander, possibly 4 wide in the midfield, and you can see now visibility is a slight issue here in the early stages. Now, James Murphy, I don't think got a great start from pole position in the 310Rs there. He's behind a couple of his rivals. Don Henschel there, the 132 goes round the outside of him. Graham McDonald appeared to be in there too, and Graham McDonald started down in 7th on the grid, so he's had a storming start in the blue and white 119 car. Big slide over the curb there for Murphy as he got it all a bit wrong coming out of the complex, and he slots in behind those 2 blue and white cars as the leaders head through Noble, and from third place there's a car on the grass. Not sure who that was, it might have been Rob Watts, that's where he started anyway in third. Thankfully gets it back on the island, but if you see how slippery the tarmac is, you can only imagine how little grip they've got once they drive on the green stuff. Definitely better to stay away from it, especially at these sort of speeds. Look at James Murphy trying to carve up the inside into Church Corner. Not a place you really want to be overtaking. He's so much later on the brakes though. James Murphy, a man on a mission here to get back to the front. Right, in the Caterham 7 UK rankings then, 4-car breakaway at the front. It's Byrne that leads the way, Henry Heaton in second place, and Jake Swan-Dixon we saw there, the white and blue car in this bunch as well, looking to go to the outside there into the chicane to no avail. Oh, and the 46 car in front of him gets very, very sideways. That was a close call indeed as they come through to complete the first lap. And if you thought that was close, look at the 310Rs. That is even tighter as they make their way across the start-finish line at the end of the opening lap. Spray being kicked up in the face of James Murphy as he continues to try and make up for that slightly poor start. It is a little bit more of a challenge to overtake in these conditions. The slipstream still works, but you just can't see where you're going when you're following in the wheel tracks of the car in front. Unfortunately for Gary Lapidus, he had a one-way ticket to the barriers, it would seem. That looks like it's the chicane, and with lots of barrier damage, the safety car has to be called, and that will neutralise the field. Gary is okay though, he's up and talking to the medics. Hopefully we'll be back racing again soon. Well, the lights are out on the pace car then, and John Byrne is on his toes, wanting to get the race back underway. He's so eager to get going that he almost ran straight into the back of the safety car. Thankfully, he avoided that and maintains the race lead. The race then back underway, and there is Rob Watts, the number 77 car. So it was Rob that I saw running wide on the opening lap. He's just behind Jake Swan-Dixon. This safety car has worked out well for him, because he had dropped back from the leading 4 a few laps ago. Back with James Murphy as he goes down the gears, locks the rear brake slightly there on the wetter side of the road, gets to the inside through Campbell, but then the left-hander can sometimes favour the car you've just overtaken. But James, I think, has made that one stick. He accelerates away back out of the complex. And James Murphy, an experienced caterer and racer these days, picks up another spot and makes his way towards the left-hander at Noble. And that looked like it might have been Harry Kramer he was passing, actually, who's one of the Caterham 7 UK competitors, making his first step up into the category this year. A couple of other 7 UK cars in this mix too as well. Look, number 25 is Neil Fraser, who has found himself dicing with some of the top 5 310R runners. In the wet though, the less powerful 310Rs can sometimes be more competitive. Chris Aubrey not looking that competitive today though. He's in the pit lane with some sort of a drama. The team are looking at the right front corner as if maybe he's had some contact somewhere. Now this is James Murphy's start, starting on pole position in the 310Rs after his win yesterday. Oh, lots of wheel spin as he gets up through the gears. But what's going to happen, I think, is he catches the back of the Caterham 7 UK's look and almost loses control trying to avoid them through turn 1. And that loss of momentum, I think, is what put him deep in the order. Right, back to the front of the field. And look at this. John Byrne is not getting away, but it's no longer Henry Heaton in second place. He is under all sorts of pressure now, look, as they head across the start-finish line, up the inside line, in fact. Goes the number 46 car. This is a brilliant drive here into turn number 1, and the lead doesn't quite change on this occasion, but this is not in the script really for John Byrne. Turns into the right-hander. Henry Heaton is still in this lead group though, and as the circuit dries out now, the slipstream is maybe starting to have a bit more of an effect than it was earlier on in the race then. Accelerates away up towards the top end of the circuit. Stephen Nuttall then the man who is challenging for the lead. Meanwhile, back to the 310Rs, and wings missing on a few of these cars, but the 148 car not going any slower for it. That's Tom Grensinger getting himself up ahead of Greg Monks. So these are two of our front runners in the championship for the 310Rs at this stage. Work their way back out onto the far end of the circuit. There's just no escaping here, is there? And don't forget, James Murphy and Tom Grensinger tied on points coming into this race. So the fact that Murphy is, I think still behind him at the moment means that the championship lead could now swing firmly in the favour of Tom Grensinger. But they're only 1 point ahead of Greg Monks as well. It's set to be a really, really close competition, I think, in the 310Rs. Back with Murphy then, so he's about 4th or 5th in this queue. As they head towards Church Corner, full commitment required, not quite flat out in these conditions, a little bit of a comfort lift as he turns in. Uses a bit of the curb, but not too much on the exit, and then back up through the gears. Right, slipstream central now. They're going to fan out at least 3 wide, maybe 4 wide for the race lead. This could end in tears, and there's a car on the grass going sideways in the background. It has ended in tears for somebody, and we have a change of the class lead. More cars throwing themselves at the scenery. I don't think there was actually any contact there, just cars running out of road and getting on the grass. The 148 there of Tom Grensinger has survived, so too Greg Monks, and it's Lewis Thompson now that gets the lead away in the 179 car. So Lewis Thompson there into the lead of the class. He went onto the straight about 4th place, and that might well be a bit of foreshadowing for the final lap coming up very shortly, because you might not want to be in the lead going on to the coming out of Church Corner on the final lap. Sideways there for Greg Monks as he turns through Campbell Corner into Cobb, through Seagrave. Tom Grensinger closing back in again now. And I think, yes, that is James Murphy, so he survived that kerfuffle. Graham McDonald also did. We have lost a couple of our 310Rs going into the chicane. John Byrne is now starting to escape them from Stephen Nuttall, Henry Heaton and Jake Swan-Dixon, 2nd, 3rd and 4th across the start-finish line, as they see what I believe was the last lap board. So one more lap around the Thruxton Speed Bowl for these leading competitors. John Byrne, though, having a little bit of a tougher time of it in this race than he has done previously. I don't think he's going to have it all his own way in 2020. He's definitely the pace setter, but the others are not that far behind him. Stephen Nuttall, though, can he hang on to this 2nd place to the flag, or is Henry Heaton going to get through? Heaton could do with getting through, really. He is 2nd place in the points, remember. Nuttall was only a few behind him coming into this weekend, though. As off, I'm afraid, goes the 121 car. That's Harry Landy. And he's going to rejoin, but there's quite a lot of damage to the car. That's up at Goodwood, I think, that he's found himself off the road. John Byrne, though, has not deviated once in this race. He's led every lap, and he punches the air with delight as he wins the 4th round of the Caterham 7 UK Championship, sponsored by Avon Tyres. 2nd place goes to Stephen Nuttall, 3rd for Heaton, and 4th for Jake Swan-Dixon. This is the battle for the win in the 310Rs, and it looks as though Lewis Thompson is going to hang on from 2nd place Greg Monks and 3rd for Tom Grensinger, James Murphy in 4th, and those 4 cars were covered by only a fraction over a second at the flag. Brilliant stuff. Well, some incredible racing there. It's Lewis Thompson who takes his first ever win in the 310Rs, making up for a disappointing end to yesterday's race. Monks and Grensinger join him on the podium, scoring some good points as well, but not quite enough to knock James Murphy off the top of the standings. He's just 1 point clear though.
I'm absolutely over the moon. It's been a long time coming. It's just been, you know, on yesterday's race we was leading on to the last lap, finished 4th unfortunately, and then today I was out for revenge and I managed to steal my first win, so I'm really chuffed after a very chaotic half an hour. Just like to say thank you to everyone at DW Motorsport for all their help and setup, as well as all my sponsors, Westwood, HW Moon, Hill Salvage, and also to my mum and dad for being here all the time and constant support through this year.
Well, congratulations to Lewis, a brilliant maiden victory in the 310Rs. In the Caterham 7 UK ranks, it was John Byrne with another win from Stephen Nuttall and Henry Heaton on the podium this time in 3rd place. Byrne starting to escape now, Heaton still 2nd, only 10 points clear of Stephen Nuttall, and keep an eye on Jake Swan-Dixon in 4th.
Oh, I'm absolutely loving this season so far. The car DW Motorsport have given me is absolutely fantastic. And I'm only here this year because of Motion Capital as well, giving me the sponsorship. And I've just put everything into it, and it's turning out absolutely fantastic. Pole at every race, and race wins everywhere, so can't be happier.